and knew well how to respond to them. "What amazes me," she half whispered, after 10 minutes of graceful, hollow conversation, "is, if you must know it, not so much the manifestation itself, though that will surely be wonderful, as your assurance that it will take place. Tell me the grounds of your confidence." "I dream with open eyes," he answered, looking around at the door, "and others see my dreams. That is all." "But that's beautiful," responded Mrs. Jameson. She smiled rather absently, for the first guest had just entered. It was Kent Smith, the ex-magistrate, celebrated for his shrewd judicial humour, which, however, he had the good sense not to attempt to carry into private life. Although well on the wrong side of 70, his eyes were still disconcertingly bright. With the selective skill of an old man, he immediately settled himself in the most comfortable of many comfortable chairs. "So, we are to see wonders tonight." "Fresh material for your autobiography," remarked Fall. "Ah, you should not have mentioned my unfortunate book. An old public servant is merely amusing himself in his retirement, Mr. Backhouse. You have no cause for alarm. I have studied in the School of Discretion." "I'm not alarmed. There can be no possible objection to your publishing whatever you please." "You are most kind," said the old man with a cunning smile. "Trent is not coming tonight," remarked Mrs. Jameson, throwing a curious little glance at her brother. "I never thought he would. It's not in his line." "Mrs. Trent, you must understand," she went on, addressing the ex-magistrate, "has placed us all under a debt of gratitude. She has decorated the old lounge hall upstairs most beautifully, and has secured the services of the sweetest little orchestra." "But this is Roman magnificence." "Backhouse thinks the spirits should be treated with more deference," laughed Fall. "Surely, Mr. Backhouse, a poetic environment—" "Pardon me. I am a simple man, and always prefer to reduce things to elemental simplicity. I raise no opposition, but I express my opinion. Nature is one thing, and art is another." "And I'm not so sure that I don't agree with you," said the ex-magistrate. "An occasion like this ought to be simple, to guard against the possibility of deception. If you will forgive my bluntness, Mr. Backhouse." "We shall sit in full light," replied Backhouse, "and every opportunity will be given to all to inspect the room. I shall also ask you to submit me to a personal examination." A rather embarrassed silence followed. It was broken by the arrival of 2 more guests, who entered together. These were Pryor, the prosperous city coffee importer, and Lang, the stock jobber, well known in his own circle as an amateur prestidigitator. Backhouse was slightly acquainted with the latter. Pryor, perfuming the room with the faint odour of wine and tobacco smoke, tried to introduce an atmosphere of joviality into the proceedings. Finding that no one seconded his efforts, however, he shortly subsided and fell to examining the watercolours on the walls. Lang, tall, thin, and growing bald, said little but stared at Backhouse a good deal. Coffee, liqueurs, and cigarettes were now brought in. Everyone partook, except Lang and the medium. At the same moment, Professor Hulbert was announced. He was the eminent psychologist, the author and lecturer on crime, insanity, genius, and so forth, considered in their mental aspects. His presence at such a gathering somewhat mystified the other guests, but all felt as if the object of their meeting had immediately acquired additional solemnity. He was small, meagre-looking, and mild in manner, but was probably the most stubborn-brained of all that mixed company. Completely ignoring the medium, he at once sat down beside Kent Smith, with whom he began to exchange remarks. At a few minutes past the appointed hour, Mrs. Trent entered, unannounced. She was a woman of about 28. She had a white,